Greetings and welcome to Citizen LY, the platform where we speak truth to power. It's a pleasure to have you join us. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please go ahead and do so. How do you do that, you may ask? Here's what you need to do. Go ahead and subscribe to Citizen LY, hit notification button, and of course give us a thumbs up and help us reach more people. We truly appreciate your support. Before we go too far ahead, we are just going to have is that correct? No, 1 second. I'm just going to make sure everything is running. Today being we're in the 17th of April now. Time flies. And it's Ojogun in Yoruba calendar. So let me just check. I want to make sure I've got everything the way I want it. Just want to make sure I've got it all running. I wanted to do that. Okay. No, okay. Just bear with me 1 sec. Yes, as the song says, how long una go to suffer? By the way, if you haven't downloaded this song, it is on iTunes and on Spotify. I'll see if I can share the link with you, maybe during this broadcast. If not, I'll get it down there at some point. You'll be doing us a favor. Don't forget, subscribe to Citizen LY, hit notification button, and of course, give us a thumbs up. I believe we are over 6,000 followers now on TikTok. Thank you so very much for that. On YouTube, we are over 157,000 on Facebook. We are over 33,007 or 800 on TikTok. And we're about 1,000 on Instagram and maybe another 1,000 or 2,000 on X. So thank you so very much. Continue to follow all our platforms. We really do appreciate you. Okay, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna come and talk about this issue that you see on the screen. Let me know if you're hearing us all right and if the levels are okay. Now, we want to talk about this issue that you see on the screen. Now, we'll go on. We're asking questions. Why same names for several African countries? It demonstrates a lack of independence, does it not? Of course, keep in mind, don't forget, these names were imposed on us. They were imposed on us. And for those of us who are saying, I'm a Nigerian, or I'm a Nigerian, can you see the subtle differences? There's the sort of duality in that name, in the names that you see. Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Republic of the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's the same name, but they put subtle things. But the people were not involved. The people of Africa were not involved in choosing those names. They came all the way from the Berlin Conference, 1884. Let me pull up something for you all to see, so that you can see. I want to superimpose the picture of the Berlin Conference meeting, so that it's actually, we sort of get this vivid picture of what was really going on. So let me quickly get that to you. Where is it now? So you will see it come up shortly. Just put it here, Berlin. It will come up, and in there, I just want you to see what's been done. So that is the Berlin Conference right there. You see that? Can you see what I mean? That's the Berlin Conference right there. That's the conference at which they decided, to carve up Africa. And from the carving up, the Congo was much bigger, but they carved it among themselves, to allow for certain people to have some areas without the say-so of Africans. So it's really important. I'm bringing this back again for us to understand. You see, that's the map of Africa you see on the wall there. I don't know if you can see over there. Yeah, that's the map of Africa that they are, pointing. And in the middle there is the Congo, and then the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the Republic of Congo. Why is that? And we have no say as people in that. You see already our sovereignty has been taken away from us by just the name, by the mere fact of the name. And for as long as we leave those names created outside of Africa on those nations, it's like kind of like a block on our, it's like a control on our psyche. I put it to you. So just, I wanted to just bring that up. Now let's go back to the main picture. Okay, so you can see Niger, Nigeria. You know, okay, they were all coming from the, because they're all part of the Niger. Well, but we, the people, we have a deeper knowledge of who we are, more than just the fact that they're connected to the Niger River. And you cannot impose your thoughts on us. That's why I'm saying when we talk about the name Nigeria, we don't tend to connect all of these things. Look at the similarity. When they're going to say you're a Nigerian, Nigerian. When they say you are from Niger, Nigerien, Nigerian. You know, these are things. Why? And these are ideas and concepts that is foreign and anathema to us, because we know who we are. We have our own names. We have our own kingdoms. Or your empire is one. Where I am from, we have the Biafrans who are, you know, who got their own. We have the Nok Empire. We have the Hausas. We have the, you know, Ishakiris. We have the Benin. We have all of those people. Dahomey. And all of this is an attempt to wipe our memory. So when we are laying claim, I don't consider myself a Nigerian. I consider myself first and foremost a man from Oyo Empire. That's a direct connection to my ancestors. I am a direct descendant of the people of the Oyo Empire. I am a direct descendant of the people of the Oyo Empire. And what Nigeria, the name Nigeria, tries to do is to rob me of that connection and that experience. So the same applies not only for Nigeria and Niger, it applies for Guinea-Bissau and Guinea. You know, there are different people who are in those areas. We didn't choose that name. They were imposed on us by the Berlin Conference. Again, I'll bring the picture up. Those people there decided those names. And as Africans, until we get rid of those names, the last vestiges of their control on the continent, the lines they drew and the names they left behind, Africa is still not independent. We need to do that. So let me go back again. Okay, so now, so the next one we're going to look at, Republic of Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo. So even, I mean, look at the way they're playing with words. The same West who are going to tell you, oh, you have to be democratic. But at the same time, they are happy to say you're a Republic of Congo without being democratic. You can see that the word democratic, just the play on that word alone shows you the meaningless, the fact that this idea of democracy is meaningless to them. It is just an area of control. To let them know this is your area of control, that's your sphere of control among themselves. You follow? This makes sense. Does this make sense? So again, look at South Sudan and Sudan. Who benefit? The names, again, those names are not African. I was doing some research and something came up to me which I will again further expatiate on. Now, so you can see South Sudan and Sudan. These are all who we don't see ourselves in that way. We have named in those areas that bears, you know, that actually relates to, speaks to who we are. I just told you about Oyo Empire. In Nigeria, because when you put the name Nigeria, it doesn't take your factor into the fact that the Oyo people do not speak the same language as Biafrans. And the Biafrans and Oyo people do not speak the same language as the Hausa people, you know, and so on and so forth. Nigeria seems to just, it's like a wipe on our memory. Your ancestry doesn't matter. Your connection to your land via your own names don't matter. You see what I'm saying? So I am putting it to the people who are very intent on keeping the name Nigeria or Niger or Guinea-Bissau. These are foreign names and they are controlling our thought processes. I want to I will expatiate a little bit more on that, but let me just see if I think I've covered all the nations. So there are 8 nations with similar sounding nation names: Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria, Niger, Democratic Republic of Congo, Republic of the Congo, Sudan, and South Sudan. Those are the 8 on the African continent, and it covers huge swathes of Africa. Now, the interesting thing I also picked up was when I look at this. I think. Let me just check so I can get it. I might not be 100%. I think I am pretty much close anyway to, or at least gives you an idea. So in Guinea, they speak French, and in Guinea-Bissau, which was carved out, who benefits when you carve out different bits? Who benefits from that? And you create a small country within next to each other. What is the benefit of that? It is clearly an attempt to divide and control, divide and rule. We cannot allow these names to remain. The fourth, obviously, I'm really glad that the Burkina Faso, under Thomas Sankara, the land of the upright man, that is such a powerful meaning. And it is no surprise, of course, from the land of the upright man, the new unstoppable revolution is taking place across the African continent. The awakening has begun, and nothing is going to stop it. Africans will once again reign supreme and be sovereign without any interference from anywhere else on the planet, on our right to exercise our sovereignty on our land as Africans collectively. So like I was saying, the Guinea-Bissau, let me just make sure, I want to make sure I get this right, and I might show you some pictures. Let's have a look at it. I want to make sure I'm speaking as factual as possible. Guinea-Bissau, they speak Portuguese. Well, their official language, again, listen to that, their official language is Portuguese. The Guinea-Bissau, the small speck there, and then you have Guinea, their official language is French. Can you see the proximity? And they're speaking 2 different languages. Again, that is about divide and rule by the colonials, not for the benefit of Africans. I need you to understand that. Now, so let's go to Nigeria. Niger, they speak French. And in Nigeria, we speak English. I have in Nigeria, in Ogun State, and in Dahomey, what is now Republic of Benin, which is not a Republic of Benin. It's a way to throw the people off, to forget the Kingdom of Benin. They wanted us to forget the Kingdom of Benin because the colonials who came and razed down the ancient Kingdom of Benin, had walls 10,000 square miles, the longest earthworks in the entire world. They destroyed it, took away valuable artifacts and craft that they've been showing around the world ever since, and made millions from. They don't want us to remember that the Republic of Benin the Kingdom of Benin existed, but we know who we are. We know our history. So they moved that name and they destroyed the Kingdom of Dahomey. The Dahomey Kingdom, and now renamed that area after cutting off bit of Yoruba or your empire, adding to that, now renamed it the Republic of Benin. Look, I'm saying all of this so that the coming generation will know what has been done. Okay? So you can see now, when you now say you are a Nigerian, what does it mean? What does it mean? Now, I don't care about to speak English as an adult. I suggest yes, or French, and learn it. But as a child, if you've grown up believing that English is your first language, is your mother tongue, it is very, very wrong, especially on the African continent. And that is messing with your mentality. It's holding back your development. Dr. Sophie, late Professor Sophie Oluwole said this, that children who have been growing up with their mom and being educated from birth in their local language. They develop more faster up until the age of 6. The minute they go to school, they're now being taught English. Then there is regression, because that English is actually interfering with their development. And those who came up with this idea that you must make English or French or official language, know what they were doing. They were trying to regress the development of the entire continent. This is all a strategic plan. Fact. It is all strategic. It's everything that can be done to hold back the development of Africa, to allow for the continued exploitation of the African resources and its people. I'm saying this dispassionately. That's the reality of what is going on. And part of that reality is when you have in Yoruba land, there is no word for Nigeria. In Igbo land, there is no word for Nigeria or any meaning. When you say the word Nigeria to a Yoruba man in his own language, there is no interpretation of that word Nigeria to have a meaning of some kind to that person within the Oyo Empire. Likewise in Biafra, likewise in the Nok Empire, likewise in the Hausa Empire and the Benin Kingdom, so on and so forth. So it is really important. I'm just being, logical in the thinking here. Another thing I want you to understand is this. The people, to make you lower your guard, they brought in Lord Lugard as the general, and then they brought his wife Flora Shaw to come up with the word Nigeria. So they coined Nigeria from that. And what they did was, when they put the feminine face on top of that suggestion, now the people kind of, oh, it's nice. Oh, she cares for Nigeria. She cares for us as Nigerians. So she's naming us. In the spiritual realm, there is a femininity has a lot of power. And when you use a symbol, when you use a female energy to present a symbol to an area like like Nigeria, the people are going to warm to that feminine energy. It's not the name they're warming to. It's the energy that the female energy that has been put forward to make the people accept that name. They think they're accepting the name. Is the female energy that they be using. This is all spiritual. The person who wrote the Nigerian national anthem, Nigeria, we hail their own, their native land, so bright as we don't want, all that stuff, In brotherhood we stand, Nigeria's all, all that stuff that that we're now being told to sing. I think it's Williams. Again, it's a woman. You see, it's the feminine energy. They use that to cement their symbolism. Nigeria is a symbolic name, a symbol of control over the Yorubas, over the Igbos, over the houses, and the people that came in the houses, the Fulanis that the houses welcomed, who have now conquered the houses on their land. And the Fulanis are being used even in this Nigeria that we talk about. Look at the Fulani herdsman crisis going on right now. So we need to change that name. Or at the very least, what needs to be happening is, I strongly am putting forward, and I'm suggesting that we as people in those areas demand for devolved governance, regional devolution of powers. Let the Yoruba people, we must advocate for Yoruba people to stand on our own under that loose name Nigeria, because it's going at some point. It is going. It is not going. It can never work. The Igbos, Biafrans, hold on to the region as Igbos. The houses hold on to their areas as Hausa people, and so on and so forth. Because the name Nigeria is a foreign name, a foreign entity on our collective psyche, and it is actually holding up the development of all of the parts that are within that contraption called Nigeria. It is a foreign name. I said it. Now, let me go and explain further about this spiritual connection. You see, words are spell. And what is more powerful is when you're speaking spell without understanding what the word that you're saying, you think you're speaking English. It is a spell that is being cast to bind you to keep you in a bind. And what is the bind? The bind is Nigeria. These are different parts of people, part of the of many kingdoms put together forcefully in the 1800s, 1898. What's the name again? George. You come back to me. You know the name, and we'll come back. Yeah, George Goldie. Goldie. Yeah. So this is, we have to understand that for us to keep that name Nigeria is kind of like a Stockholm syndrome. The very people and the very a group of people that came to destroy and take our people and enslave us and destroy our development have now somehow got us to keep the name that they put on us together, destroying our cultural lines, our cultural interaction, destroying the peace that we had, the peace and tranquility that many of the writers came to admire and enjoy, the peacefulness. There is no peace on the African in that contraption we call Nigeria right now. There's bloodshed on that land, all because of this name. Now, so let me roll that back again, just to reiterate. When we say the name Nigeria, as Yoruba people, as Igbo, as Hausa, when we say that, we are psychologically accepting that our own ancestral kingdoms that have been there for thousands of years. In the case of Yoruba land, we know that they found a man in Ishanu in Ondo State, the cave of ashes. They dated him to a 30-year-old man, and when they dated his body, they found that he was as old as 130,000 years old. That's the enormity of what we are talking about here. So when somebody now tries to put Nigeria, it's like somebody's trying to scrub your history out. We can't willingly join hand to that. It's not about fighting, whatever. I'm just saying, as Africans, we need to understand. This is not about hating the English language. I'm saying to understand that in the context that we're talking about this right now, for us to rediscover the greatness of our ancestral kingdoms, or your empire, Nok Empire, Benin Kingdom, Songhai Empire, all of those great African empires that they admired. Benin Kingdom is the first place they saw a lit city. The Europeans marveled at seeing light at night, lighting up areas for people to be able to see. These are history that they've wiped away under the name Nigeria. So what if we are willingly, and this is the thing, many people think, because somebody has told us that we're Nigerian, we should accept that. No, we can't. Because if you look at our development since they put the name Nigeria on us in 1899, where are we? By George Goldie, under the Niger company. That's in effect a name that was passed. They paid this man £565,000. The British Parliament signed that they wanted to pay this man for him holding on to that area, with him winning that area for them as an area they could get resources out on the cheap. Niger company, which is now called Unilever. Niger company, I think is, anyway. I'll get the exact name, but if you just type in Unilever, you will understand that it's still Unilever today. So when we are saying we are keeping on to Nigeria, we are keeping this injustice going on our land, and we need to wake up. What we need to do, of course, I know we have to take several steps. One of the things we need to rapidly do right now is to, I am strongly suggesting that we go for regional devolution of powers right now, so that the powers to run and govern our own affairs becomes regional. And then we have a ceremonial head of state. It is not functioning, and it's actually, and what is happening is our resources are being exploited under the name Nigeria by those who created Nigeria at the expense of the people of Nigeria, many of whom are escaping around the world thinking there's a better future, when in actual fact they can get a great future in Yoruba land, in Biafra, in Hausa land, by dint of our resources. But the name Nigeria, they are using it as a way to control the resources in our land. I hope this makes sense. So, like I said, let me go back again. I need to make sure this is clear. The issue now about when you say the name Nigeria on that soil, you are spiritually putting the flag of the colonial country. You're sticking that flag into your soil and saying, on this land shall remain the powers that took over our ancestral land, and we agree to it. You see, they have to they have to get you to give power to them. And spiritually, when we are all saying Nigeria, we are giving the power to the country that gave us that name Nigeria. That is all we're doing. And that is why Nigeria will never function, because our ancestors, if we're going to call on our ancestors to help us to regain our future, one of the things that our ancestors will ensure is that we remember their name, we remember their empire, and we bring back their empire to life. We bring it to life. That is our role. I kid you not. For as long as we are answering to this name Nigeria, there can be no development. And it is designed that way. Like I said, words are spelled. They are spelled. You are spelling. When you voice a word, Nigeria, over that geographical area, again, you are taking the powers away from our ancestors. You are putting them in a bind to not reclaim their land. And they will not, whatever you're praying for to come and help you, they can't help you. You have to recognize and reconnect with them. And that is why remembering our ancestral names is so important. When we are focused on Nigeria, the more you say Nigeria, you're forgetting your own history. It's like wiping your brain. When they reboot a computer, not reboot, yeah, when they erase a computer's memory to put a new memory, that's what we are doing to ourselves on a daily basis and to coming generation. That is why knowing our prior history before colonization is so important. And you can see, I mean, Niger, they speak French. Official language in Niger is French, but until recently now, salute to General Chani, he's now made sure that they speak Hausa in Niger. So, no doubt, don't be surprised if he changes the name Niger. Because that name, again, these are colonial names. They have nothing. There is no connection between those names and the people on that land. None. Zero. Absolutely zero. Zero. So we need to recognize that. And without us reconnecting, we got to reconnect. Our ancestors named those areas. Or your empire is what my ancestor named that area, that section of the what is now called Nigeria. That is Yoruba speaking. That extended up into Togo, even into Ghana, into Republic of what they call Benin. Is actually Dahomey. You see, that name the name Nigeria seeks to hide all of these injustices, and we cannot allow it on the coming generation. And of course, it creates divide and rule. The divide and rule now. oh, you're all one Nigeria. Yes, let us be one. And it is breaking our connection with our own ancestral, the ancestral connection that we have to that land, where we have been for over 130,000 years as Yoruba people, speaking the language. Omo Yoruba ni mi, like I'm saying right now. And that applies to the Republic of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they both speak French. Why carve them up into different languages? So one says, you know, and they impose on them the CFA. Where's the freedom? And of course, we now know U.S. has got military base in the Republic of Congo, you know, and M23 is being funded. Now the U.S. is now saying that they're going to provide safety and security in exchange for mineral resources. This is exploitation. We need to wake up. We must reclaim in its entirety everything about Africa for Africans. And that must be our goal. On the African continent, we mustn't allow any foreign name to stand, because when we allow that to stand, it shows it that means they are still controlling what we're saying, because when you're having to say that name, their language is still being said. Remember I said, when you're speaking any language, particularly when it's foreign to you and you don't even know the ramifications of it, it's a spell that you are casting over the area where you're speaking it. You're allowing them to stick their flag into your soil and say, on this soil will remain supreme. When we say our Oyo Empire on our land, we are connecting back and remembering our ancestors and saying thank you for preserving this for us. We are going to preserve Oyo Empire for the coming generation. That is why we need to begin, and I advocate that we go for regional devolution of powers. Regional devolution of powers in Nigeria, because there is this huge state of insecurity, which I will come and talk about at great length at another broadcast. I've not been able to come out and speak as often because I'm not, you know, health-wise not quite strong just yet. So I come and do things as much when I can, as and when. But anyway, so what I've just said about Nigeria now, don't be surprised, it will be the same thing in all of these places. Guinea-Bissau will be the same thing. It's divide and rule. The Nigeria, Niger is divide and rule in both places, because they're given different languages, they're different, you know, different systems of government, and all of this stuff is all designed to create chaos so that we are not able to move forward. And we need to give what's the word now? To raise the Oyo Empire from the ashes of ruins that was placed by the colonials. We must. So the Yoruba people must begin to wake up and work together. And that's why we say we want the people to, and on our, as a matter of fact, our official language in Yoruba land should be Yoruba language. Anybody, I'm not saying you can speak, it doesn't mean you're not going to speak French and learn it as an adult, but when you're growing up, just like Professor Sophie Oluwole proved, children, our people, our mothers are educators, and they are very vital to the existence of the Yoruba culture, Yoruba people, Yoruba land, in terms of reproduction, in terms of educating our kids, in terms of the knowledge that they can share and pass down from one generation to the next. They're very, very key. What they've been doing, we've been going through a massive industrial scale brainwashing, and that is something that we have to recognize. Many of the history books have been wiped off. I mean, the other day we saw a Fulani man saying, oh, it was the Fulani groundnut, the pyramid groundnut from the north was what built Lagos State and the Western region, and we've had to rapidly come out with facts of Obafemi Awolowo and the farmers and the agricultural the strength, the cocoa growing, the cocoa house that is still in existence in Ibadan today is proof of the success of getting ourselves out of getting doing showing the greatness, the tallest building at the time in Africa or West Africa thereabouts. So and many not knowing that history. I said I believe the Fulani man was saying something about we should be grateful because it was the money from the pyramid groundnut that built Lagos, and we've forgotten our history. No, we haven't, and this is why I'm saying when we keep that name Nigeria, we are going to lose. We are losing the history and the direct connection to the great Oyo Empire, something we should all be proud of. Obalade ni gbogbo wa. I'm not even going to explain what that means. You go and find out. I know what I'm saying, and as I'm saying it, bó ṣe máa rí nìyẹn, ẹ máa gbálẹ̀ wá padà, àṣẹ, 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 àṣẹ wá, ó ti rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Now, I'm not going to explain that. I know what I'm doing. I'm speaking with my ancestors. I'm taking directions from them. Now, so it is important in all of this. It's nothing to do with hating the English language. It is simply saying on the kingdom of our ancestors, their name shall reign supreme. And when we venerate them and remember them, our land becomes peaceful because they are now at one with us. Under the name Nigeria, our ancestors can never be at one with us. It is that simple. Every year in the UK here, rightly so, they remember those who gave their lives in the war that they fought, in the Second World War and all, the First World War. Our ancestors, those land, they had to do things and they did the same thing. And we have been told to forget them and have the name Nigeria. It's like a slap to the face of our ancestors. That cannot stand. It can't. So now I've explained briefly in terms of the spell that we've been conditioned to spell over ourselves to keep us in that bind. The bind is there to keep us from using our resources to benefit ourselves. We need to wake up. So you can see it's not, Nigeria's case is not unique. Guinea-Bissau, Republic of the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, South and South Sudan. This is something that, and these are where they are doing this. They are strategic. You know, if you're going from one side of Africa to the next, into the heart of Africa, to the west, and to the very tip of the west coast. These are all spiritual signs of continued domination, and we need to recognize. So when you are speaking now that you've seen this bigger picture of this duality of names and the significance of the duality of names that they put across those areas to keep you pinned down spiritually, I think it's time to relook at that name Nigeria. It is not of our ancestors. It's not about hating those who put it there. I'm saying the time is now for the coming generation of Yoruba people, Biafrans, Hausas. They need to know their history. They need to know about Oyo Empire, not about the colonials. They came to destroy our kingdoms. That's the fact. They sat in this room. They sat at the Berlin Conference. Chancellor Bismarck. Yes, him there. Otto von Bismarck in the middle there. And all the others. The King of Belgium with his emissary carving up our ancestral land. That's the reality of it. So when you are saying yes to Nigeria, this is what you are saying yes to. When you are saying yes to the DRC and the Republic of Congo, this is what you are saying yes to. When you are saying yes to Guinea Conakry and Guinea-Bissau and all of that, this is what you are saying yes to. The continuation of the Berlin Conference on the African continent. We need to put a stop to it. We must make sure that there is no semblance of anything of this Berlin Conference left on the African continent. The continent belongs to Africans, and we must exercise collectively our sovereignty. Okay, now South Sudan, you can see that there's wars and things going on there. And again, these are all divide and rule tactics. They're funding this side, funding the other because there are resources there. In all of this, the motivating factor in all of those areas that you see, there are resources in those areas. Guinea now just found oil. Burkina Faso found oil. And all of these things that have been things that they're trying to keep away from Africans. In Nigeria, we know there's oil. In Congo, there's lithium, there's, you name it, it's literally all there. And that is what they are there for. They're not there when they talk to you about this democracy. They don't care about democracy. They only care about one thing: the continued exploitation of African resources for their benefit. That's the reality. So any of us keep putting anything like Nigeria or Niger or their names above those of our ancestors, we are writing ourselves. We are making sure that our own coming generation will not know their own true history, the history of the great ancient kingdoms that existed for eons. Literally, I've given an example: Yoruba land, Igbo land, same thing, and all over. So anyway, I just wanted to show you the duality. Those duality, and it goes across Africa. If you can see, to the north, to the middle, to the west, you know, all of these are all cleverly, subtly done, and they're all key in the way they put it to keep control of Africa. So when we say, I mean, for me, I can say now, for as long as we have that name Nigeria, we're not independent. Bissau, Guinea-Bissau, Republic of the Congo, Democratic Sudan, South Sudan, we are proving to them that they remain in control. We must get rid of those names out of our consciousness completely and bring back to life the kingdoms of our ancestors. That is what we must do. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on what I just said now. How do you view this? I hope you found it interesting. Let's hear your comments. And again, of course, we salute the great man behind us here, Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goïta, General Chiani, for the great work they're doing. They are the ones who have been the vanguard, who have actually awoken millions of us. And I'm so grateful to see many people sharing the pictures and the news about the great feats being achieved by Ibrahim Traore and also General Chiani, and also Assimi Goïta of Mali, who was literally taking over and kicked out the company, I think a Canadian company from Mali, because they've been exploiting the resources. I'll cover that as a separate story, in further broadcasts as we go along. But for now, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on what I just said here. I hope we've been able to explain the duality that has deliberately been implanted to create confusion, to create division, to ensure that we don't unite, to ensure that we're not able to actually stand and be able to build an Africa that's going to work for Africans. And it is time we break out of that bind. And the words that we speak, the foreign words that we speak on our continent, is a spell on our continent that we must dispel by invoking the name of our ancestors, by calling Yoruba. There is no word in Yoruba land for Nigeria. There is no word for Nigeria in Igbo land. There's no word for Nigeria in Hausa language. There isn't. So we need to make sure that we tell our people this. And those who are, clearly there are puppets who have been put in by the West to ensure the continuation of their sphere of influence, because that way they have unfettered access to our resources, and that actually is to our detriment, to our collective detriment. That is why I'm so grateful when I see what Ibrahim Traore is doing. He's nationalized the gold mine. The oil is in the public, it's in the hands of the people. He's looking at benefiting the people. He's giving free medical health care to all women in Burkina Faso. He's giving 24/7 health care to everybody to get health care treatment. Education, school, farming, they're feeding themselves. and they're sending some food. They're now being able to be so self-sufficient. They're sending food to other countries in Africa. That is the kind of visionary leadership that we need, and we say salute to these great men that you see going on behind me. But let me have your thoughts on what you've had thus far. Do you see this, that the need for us, do you agree with me about the need for us to get rid of the duality of the names, because and the fact that speaking those foreign languages on African continent is actually putting a bind on ourselves by spelling. When you spell, cast a spell on ourselves to keep us in that bind, Africa will never move forward. We need to dispel the whole of Africa, remove the vestiges of any of the names, no connection whatsoever, restore and remember our own ancestral kingdoms. Then Africa will thrive. You've been listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. What are your thoughts on what you just had thus far? Let's have your views. Don't forget, subscribe to Citizen AY, hit notification button, give us thumbs up, and help us reach more people. I'd love to hear your views on this. I hope you found this useful. You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you very much. Please don't forget, we welcome super chats and gifts. If you found this beneficial, please subscribe to us. Don't forget, subscribe, share it to people. When if you're share it to 10 of your friends, 100 of your friends, and let us get this debate going. I hope I've been able to explain to you the need for us to really reconnect back to Africa, to our ancestors, having African names on the African continent. I wouldn't want to impose any African name on the colonial in Europe. That is their space. Likewise, equally, we shouldn't allow for the colonial names to remain on the African continent, creating divisions and getting our people to flee from the resources beneath their feet. It's about our resources. We need to claim what is ours back. We are sovereigns on the African continent. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you very much. You've been listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you, and bye for now. Bye for now.